AFL teams are made up of players picked in multiple drafts, but there is always a defining core of 3 or 4 players who lead the team in a hunt for success. Right now, some of the AFL's best players and rising ones came up together in the same draft year and are now the faces of their clubs. These are some of the club-defining drafts in modern time that will be factors in whether their teams can be contenders in the present and the future. Carlton back in 2015 almost got an entire spine of a team that is now pivotal in deciding the outcomes of their games. The Blues finished dead last in 2015, but still had a strong midfield. Patrick Cripps finished his second year of football, and Mark Murphy and Bryce Gibbs were still prominent. It was either end of the ground that needed some work. They entered the night with pick 1, and the no-brainer option was Jacob Wiedering. He was the best prospect in the draft, and the key defender was a perfect match for the club's needs. Then there was pick 10 and pick 12, which was traded in by giving the Western Bulldogs pick 20 and 21. The next priority on the Blues list was a key forward or 2. In 2015, Carlton's top goal scorer was Andreas Everett, who totalled just 31 goals in 22 games. The next best was Levi Casbolt, who kicked 24. They were the only 2 Carlton players to manage at least 20 goals for the season. As the top 9 picks finished up, 2 future key forward stars would fall into Carlton's lap. First up at pick 10 was Harry Mackay. There was some risk in this selection, as his draft profile notes. Mackay's got plenty of upside, but at the moment, his lack of consistency and poor kicking proved to be serious risks. It then goes on to say, Mackay looks more like a complementary forward rather than a 50 to 60 goal a year threat at his peak. 2 selections after was Charlie Curnow. He was a similar raw prospect to Mackay at the time, and was even seen as a possible medium forward or potential midfielder at AFL level. Well, it turns out all 3 picks have proven to be hits. Wiedering played 20 games in his first season and has been an ultra consistent key defender for his entire time in the competition. He's won 2 best and fairest and was finally named All-Australian for the first time in 2024. The key forwards didn't have as smooth a transition. Mackay played 15 games in his first 2 years before cementing a regular spot, and it was in 2021 where he kicked 58 goals that he announced himself. He won that year's Coleman Medal, and despite having issues with goal kicking here and there, he was back to his best in 2024. Then there is Curnow. By the end of 2018, he looked like the next superstar forward, kicking 34 goals. By the middle of 2021, no one knew if he would ever be able to come back and play. He had knee injury setbacks from 2019 to 2021 that completely ruined his seasons, and for a player who does rely on athletic ability, it was a dicey situation. 2 Colemans and 2 All-Australians later, it seems like Curnow has overcome his injury concerns. The wait has been worth it. No one has kicked more goals since 2022 than Curnow, and at 27, he's just hitting his prime as a big forward. 2015 was the draft Carlton needed, and the 3 critical pickups have got the Blues back in the finals bubble. The top 10 of the 2019 draft has set up 2 rising sides with midfielders for the next decade. Fremantle had 3 straight selections from pick 7 to 9. 2 years before, they picked up Andrew Brayshaw and Adam Chera as their young guns. And at the time, to help Nat Fyfe and David Mundy, they went for more midfield help. But their first pick at 7 was Hayden Young. He was touted as arguably the best kick in this year's draft pool. Young is a damaging halfback with great intercept marking and scope to move into the midfield. At pick 8, they selected Caleb Sarong. He was the MVP of the 2019 Under-18 National Championships and captain Vic Country. He was a prototype inside midfielder and would balance the outside spread Brayshaw offered. The final of the trio was a matched academy bid for Liam Henry. He is now at St Kilda and played well in his first year at the Saints despite facing injury. But Young and Sarong are now arguably Fremantle's two best players. Young spent 2024 as an on-baller and has graduated from that halfback role. He is the one Fremantle mid with a turn of pace and can break lines with his kicking. He was rated the 11th best player of the season. Sarong looks like the club's next captain. He has won back-to-back best and fairest and all Australians. He gets 30 disposals nearly every week and he's just so consistent as that inside mid. These two paired with Brayshaw will be the defining core of Fremantle, who are in search of their first AFL premiership. The other club that's core is currently made up from the 2019 draft is the Gold Coast Suns. They had pick 1 and 2 thanks to the AFL providing an assistance package. They decided to go with two Carey Grammar schoolmates and Oakley Chargers premiership players in Matt Rowell and Noah Anderson. Rowell was the standout player in the 2019 crop. Whilst finding his improvements might be difficult, his draft range of pick 1 is the easiest of any player and Gold Coast Suns have a real player on their hands. To complement the inside grunt work of Rowell, Anderson was an easy second pick with his outside ability and pace, the creation of a perfect 1-2 punch. So far, the two together have panned out good, but not yet great. We all know Rowell started his career on fire, but dealt with a shoulder injury in his first year and a knee injury soon after, and he only got back to his best in 2023. Anderson won the best and fairest that same year and has been more productive overall than Rowell, but has had struggles regularly performing on the road. It was best seen last year as a team, with their first away win coming in round 22, and the two on-ballers are a reason they have struggled when playing away from home. Still, in 2024, Rowell was rated the 10th best player of the season, and Anderson wasn't too far behind him at the 14th rated player. In the 2019 draft, the Suns also selected Sam Flanders at pick 11. He split his time in defence and the midfield in his breakout year after being snubbed by previous coach Stuart Dew. He can find the ball in any part of the ground, and you would think being alongside Rowell and Anderson is where he will spend the majority of his career. The three top 10 picks individually have put up solid numbers during their time in the AFL, but are yet to lead the club to finals. The midfield is the most critical part of the ground, and if the Suns are to get anywhere, these three will have a big say. An underrated yet important part of Brisbane's premiership list for 2024 came in 2017. With the first overall pick, they chose Cam Rayner. He was the explosive forward half gun of the draft, and 7 years later we saw his potential in full action, especially in the second half of the preliminary final. He's not the consistent superstar yet, but in this Brisbane team, all he has needed to do is chip in with moments of brilliance. The same can be said for pick 15 in the same draft, which was Zach Bailey. He has played most of his career up forward with Rayner, and his speed and goal nous has been so important for so long. His time of 2.98 seconds in the 20-metre sprint at the NAB AFL Draft Combine was in the top 10 for all players who tested at the National Combine. It isn't just off the field where he shows his speed, but during games it is notable. This description has translated right into the AFL, and when Bailey is on, there really aren't too many more damaging forward half players. And 3 picks later was Brandon Starcevic. There is no better lockdown defender. He kept Tom Papley to 1 goal in the grand final, and has done the job so many times on all those medium and small forwards. The 2017 draft for the Lions has flown under the radar, as all 3 of the players not only helped them win the premiership this year, but are just entering their primes and could have bigger roles in the future.